Imagine walking into a coffee shop, excited to start your first day as the new police chief. You'll dress casually, hoping to keep a low profile and observe the community you're about to serve. But then, out of nowhere, a cop storms in, frustrated, and decides to take it out on someone, targeting you. He hurls insults, his tone dripping with prejudice, and shockingly, throws his hot coffee at you. He has no idea who you are. The room goes silent as everyone watches, stunned, and you're left standing there, coffee dripping from your jacket. How do you react? Do you reveal your identity right then and there, or wait for the right moment to teach him a lesson he'll never forget? This story takes a surprising turn, and you won't believe what happens next. Stay tuned as we unravel this shocking encounter that exposes true character and justice. The officer doesn't realize the gravity of his actions as he sneers, brushing off the shocked looks from others in the coffee shop. For him, this is just another day where he thinks he can act without consequences. The woman, stunned but composed, calmly sets her bag down and takes a napkin to wipe away the coffee. She doesn't yell or react the way he might expect. Instead, she locks eyes with him, her expression unreadable. As whispers fill the shop, customers begin to wonder who this woman is and why she hasn't exploded in anger. Some even pull out their phones, sensing that something big is unfolding. Meanwhile, the officer continues his rant, confident in his authority. But little does he know, the new police chief was observing his every word and move. The tension builds as she takes a step forward, ready to make her next move. The officer continues to dominate the scene, his voice loud and abrasive as he mutters something about people knowing their place. His confidence oozes from every gesture, but the room has shifted. A few patrons exchange uneasy glances, while others quietly record, their phones tucked discreetly by their sides. The woman remains silent, taking a deep breath as she assesses the situation. This isn't just about her, it's about something bigger. How often does he act like this? How many others has he treated this way, and what kind of message does it send to the community? Outside, the faint sound of a police radio crackles from a parked patrol car, and a second officer steps in, confused by the growing tension. He glances at his partner, then at the woman, his brows furrowing. The air feels clear. The officer's partner hesitates, sensing something isn't right. He approaches the woman cautiously, his tone softer as he asks if everything is okay. She nods slightly, her calm demeanor almost unsettling in the face of the chaos. But there's a quiet authority about her now, a strength that begins to shift the energy in the room. The first officer, still unaware of the storm he's walking into, dismisses his partner with a wave. "I've got this under control," he says arrogantly, but his partner doesn't move. He's caught the glance exchanged between the woman and a few onlookers, and he's starting to piece things together. The woman finally speaks, her voice steady but firm. "Control? Is this how you think control works?" Her words cut through the tension like a knife, silencing the murmurs around them. The officer freezes, his bravado faltering for the first time. Everyone in the room is on edge, waiting to see what happens next. Charged, as if everyone is holding their breath, waiting for the moment when everything unravels. The officer's confidence begins to crack as the woman steps closer, her eyes steady and unwavering. "You have no idea who you're talking to, do you?" she says, her tone calm, but laced with something that sends a ripple of unease through the room. The second officer shifts nervously, his eyes darting between his partner and the woman. He seems to realize something is off, but doesn't dare speak yet. The first officer scoffs, his arrogance still holding on by a thread. "Oh, and who exactly are you supposed to be?" he sneers, his voice dripping with condescension. But before she can answer, the door swings open, and another uniformed officer walks in, someone higher ranking, judging by his crisp attire and commanding presence. He stops dead in his tracks, his face a mixture of surprise and panic as he takes in the scene. "Chief," he stammers, breaking the silence. Gasps ripple through the crowd, and the first officer's face turns pale. He takes a step back, realizing too late the mistake he's made. The woman doesn't flinch, Instead, she folds her arms, her calm demeanor now radiating authority. The second officer steps forward, his voice shaky. "Ma'am, we didn't know." The tension peaks as everyone waits to see how she'll respond, the weight of the moment pressing down on the room like a heavy storm cloud. The room feels frozen as everyone waits for the woman's response. She lets the silence linger, her gaze locking onto the first officer. "You think a badge gives you the right to treat people like this?" She finally says, her voice sharp but steady. "I came here to see how this department operates on the ground. Clearly, there's a lot of work to be done." The officer stammers, trying to form an excuse, but she raises her hand, cutting him off. "No," she says firmly. "This isn't a conversation. This is accountability." She turns to the second officer. "Call the station. I want his badge on my desk by the end of the day." The first officer's face drains of color as the gravity of his actions hits him, but just as he's about to leave in shame, the new chief drops a bombshell. "Before you go, you should know that your behavior wasn't just witnessed here." She gestures to a man in the corner, who steps forward, holding up a badge. "This is an investigator from Internal Affairs. You've been under review for weeks." The officer's arrogance crumbles completely, replaced by panic. The crowd watches as he's escorted out, leaving the new chief standing tall. She turns to the patrons, her voice now warm but firm. "This department will change, starting today." A wave of quiet applause ripples through the room, a sign of hope and new beginnings. As the officer is led out, the tension in the coffee shop melts away, replaced by a sense of relief and quiet optimism. The new chief takes a moment to thank the patrons for their patience and assures them that this is just the beginning of meaningful change. "No one, not even those in uniform, is above the values we're sworn to uphold," she says, her words resonating with those gathered. The second officer, still shaken, steps forward and apologizes to her, vowing to do better. She nods, giving him a chance to prove himself. Before leaving, she turns back to the room. "This is your community. Hold us accountable. Together, we'll make it stronger." The coffee shop erupts into applause as she exits, her presence leaving a lasting impression. Outside, she looks up at the bright morning sky, ready to take on the challenges ahead and rebuild trust, one step at a time.